is that? What is that, Private Pile? You owe me for one jelly donut. Now get on your faces.
Welcome to Weird Film Facts. Today we're diving into the chaotic and mysterious world behind the 1987 classic Full Metal Jacket. There were knife threats right on set, actors gaining record weight for their art, and a director so obsessed with perfection he almost drained his cast mentally and physically. Can you believe a war movie so hauntingly real could hide so many weird, unbelievable facts? Let's check out these 25 mind-blowing facts. Number 1. Even though Full Metal Jacket is known for its graphic war scenes, director Stanley Kubrick actually had to cut footage that was too shocking even for him. One of them was a scene where Marines played soccer with a severed head. A gruesome image no one would have thought could make it to the screen. Another equally brutal scene had Animal Mother beheading a female Vietnamese sniper with a knife. A savage and inhumane act. These cuts only fueled audience curiosity about what was left out, making us wonder just how much more haunting the film would have been if those scenes had stayed in. Number 2. To play Private Pile, Vincent D'Onofrio went through a massive transformation. He had to gain a record-breaking 75 pounds, that's about 34 kilos. It wasn't just a physical change, though. Mentally, the shift was just as intense. People on set even started treating him differently because of his heavier build. That kind of sudden weight gain takes a serious toll. At one point, he suffered a painful knee injury that stuck with him long after filming. It was a tough price to pay for a role.
Quickly, up and over, up and over.
But D'Onofrio never held back. His commitment was all in. That level of dedication is a big part of why Private Pile felt so real and unsettling on screen. You're not just watching a performance, you're watching someone fully become the character. Number 3. A little-known fact is that Kubrick prevented Matthew Modine from visiting his wife, who was undergoing surgery, showing his absolute control. In a moment of extreme tension, Modine had to pull out a knife to threaten him. And amazingly, Kubrick finally backed down. What's even crazier is that Modine had no shooting schedule that day at all, which just goes to show Kubrick's obsession with keeping everyone on set. This incident revealed a piece of Kubrick's complex.
I think I was trying to suggest something about the duality of man, sir.
The what?
The duality of man, the Jungian thing, sir.
And sometimes scary nature. A director willing to do anything to achieve his artistic vision. Number 5. The relationship between Matthew Modine and Vincent D'Onofrio on the set of Full Metal Jacket was incredibly tense, partly stemming from Modine joking around during strict training sessions. Their differing acting methods, Lee Strasberg versus Stella Adler, also contributed to D'Onofrio getting weirder and weirder.
Order! This is my rifle! There are many like it, but this one is mine!
As he immersed himself in the character of Private Pile. Modine admitted, "I was really put off by Vince for how he behaved in boot camp." The scariest thing is, despite intense conflicts, they're still close friends to this day, showing just how deeply the obsession with the role affected them. Number 6. The way R. Lee Ermey prepared for his role as Sergeant Hartman was an intense process that could be compared to torture. During rehearsals, Kubrick's assistant would throw tennis balls or oranges at Ermey, and he had to catch them while continuously reciting his lines 20 times without making a mistake.
That's a war face! Now let me see your war face!
This rigorous training method helped Ermey deliver his lines perfectly, to the point where Kubrick only needed 2 to 3 takes for most of his scenes. This shows Ermey's extraordinary dedication and Kubrick's obsession with perfection. What made this scene so difficult that it broke Ermey's perfect streak? The answer reveals something deeper about the psychology of abuse and the fine line between acting and reality. If you find these stories interesting, give this video a thumbs up. Number 7. It's a little-known fact that a car accident involving R. Lee Ermey almost cost the film Platoon its chance and changed film history. Because Ermey broke his ribs and needed 4.5 months to recover after the accident, director Oliver Stone had to quickly finish Platoon before Kubrick. As a result, Platoon was released in theaters 6 months before Full Metal Jacket, creating an unexpected rivalry between the two major war films. This is a clear example of how a small event can create big consequences, shaping the landscape of Hollywood. Number 8. R. Lee Ermey didn't just improvise Sergeant Hartman's classic insults, he also wrote a 150-page script filled with curses and expletives. This psychological warfare was designed to destroy the morale of grown men, making them completely break down.
There wouldn't be any thievery in this world, would there?
Sir, no, sir!
Get out!
Kubrick was so impressed with Hermé's talent that he allowed him to improvise almost half of his lines, bringing frightening authenticity to the character. Kubrick even personally asked Hermé about the phrase "reach around" and agreed to let him use it, showing his commitment to authenticity and shock value. Number 9. In the original script for Full Metal Jacket, Matthew Modine's character, Joker, was actually not supposed to survive. A tragic and vastly different outcome from what we saw. Matthew Modine convinced Kubrick to change his mind, arguing that Joker surviving was the real horror and tragedy of war. Joker's survival, as a cynical journalist, transformed him into a haunting reminder of war survivors who carry the burden of their memories for life. This decision altered the entire message of the film, making it much deeper and more meaningful. Number 10. Even a seemingly perfect actor like R. Lee Ermey had his limits, and the jelly donut scene was that breaking point. This shot demanded absolute precision and had to be filmed up to 37 times to achieve perfection.
What is that? What is that, Private Pyle? You owe me for one jelly donut! Now get on your faces!
Hermé's patience and dedication are undeniable, but this detail also reveals something deeper about the psychology of abuse and the fine line between acting and reality. It shows the immense pressure actors endured under the hand of a director who demanded such perfection as Kubrick. Number 11. Joker's helmet wasn't just a piece of military gear, it was a philosophical statement, symbolizing the duality of man. With "Born to Kill" written on the helmet but adorned with a peace symbol, this helmet represented Joker's internal contradiction. When Joker had to finish off the female Vietnamese sniper, he unconsciously covered up the peace symbol on his helmet. A very telling act. This is a powerful visual metaphor for the moment war shatters. Peace ideals highlighting human dehumanization in a harsh environment. Number 13. In one scene, a sign in the meeting room had a special inscription: "We will defend to the death our right to be misinformed." In 1987, when the film was released, this quote was seen as a biting satire on war journalism and propaganda. However, in today's world with the explosion of fake news, this quote has become an eerily accurate and astonishing prophecy. It reflects the reality of modern society where distinguishing truth from falsehood is increasingly difficult, further affirming Kubrick's ahead-of-his-time vision. Number 14. Vincent D'Onofrio's journey to the role of Private Pyle is a true Hollywood fairy tale. Before being cast in this iconic role, he was just a door attendant with very little acting experience. When Matthew Modine told D'Onofrio about the role, he filmed an impressive audition tape on his own. D'Onofrio couldn't believe his eyes when he got the part, even thinking he was being pranked. A testament to the surprise and rare opportunities in the film industry. Do you think actors have to endure too much pressure from directors? Let us know your thoughts by commenting yes or no below. Number 15. The phrase "Full Metal Jacket" wasn't in Gustav Hasford's original book The Short Timers, on which the film was based. Kubrick didn't want to use the book's title, fearing audience misunderstanding, so he went looking for a new one. In a random moment, he flipped through a gun catalog and saw the phrase, and that's how the iconic title for the film was born. This is a classic example of how randomness can lead to greatness, and how a small detail can shape the entire identity of an artistic work. Number 16. Stanley Kubrick was famously afraid of flying, and after moving to England, he refused to travel. This created a huge challenge for recreating the Vietnam setting in Full Metal Jacket. To solve the problem, Kubrick had to recreate Vietnam right there in England, tree by tree. Over 200 palm trees were shipped from California, and more than 100,000 other tropical plants were brought in from Hong Kong to create the most authentic backdrop possible. This meticulous attention to detail shows the extent of Kubrick's obsession with perfection, a man willing to do anything for his work to achieve absolute realism. Number 17. There's a little detail in Full Metal Jacket that most people totally miss, but it says a lot about Kubrick's style. During the scene where Joker talks to the prostitute, there's a moment that slips by almost everyone. When she asks, You sure you only do cops? Зрение. Что-то интересное происходит в фоновом режиме. If you rewind a few seconds and really pay attention, you'll catch it. It's subtle, but it's there, and it changes the whole vibe of the scene. That's classic Kubrick. He never throws in random details just for the sake of it. Everything has a purpose, even if it takes a few watches to notice. It's what makes his films feel layered, like there's always more to uncover. Moments like this turn a simple war movie into something closer to art. Number 18. Matthew Modine kept a detailed diary about the production of Full Metal Jacket, something almost unheard of when working with a mysterious director like Kubrick. Surprisingly, Kubrick himself encouraged Modine to document everything to truly immerse himself in the role. Modine's book, Full Metal Jacket Diary, has become one of the only and most valuable insider accounts of working with Stanley Kubrick. It pulled back the curtain on the secrets and pressures behind the scenes, offering audiences deep insight into the creation of this masterpiece. Number 19. In Cowboy's death scene, there was a structure in the background that looked a lot like the monolith from Kubrick's 2001, a space odyssey. It didn't take long for fans to start reading into it. Many believed it had some kind of deeper meaning. Maybe it was a nod to Kubrick's earlier work, or a symbol of something bigger. But according to Kubrick himself, its presence was completely accidental. He basically said, sometimes a monolithic building is just a monolithic building. No hidden message, no secret symbolism. Still, it's a great example of how random details can spark wild theories. Even unintended elements can add layers of mystery that keep people talking. Number 20. In the scene where Private Pyle finally snaps, there's a subtle detail that most people miss. It's a quiet bit of foreshadowing that speaks volumes. Pyle had secretly been stockpiling ammo. The big clue? The magazine that looked empty actually still had bullets in it. That tiny detail showed just how carefully he was planning his rebellion. It wasn't a random outburst, it was building up all along. And that loaded magazine hinted that something terrible was coming. It's the kind of moment that feels even heavier on a second watch. It reminds us that in a strict, high-pressure environment like the military, even small actions can spiral out of control. Number 21. There's a powerful detail from the original book that didn't make it into the film, but it adds a whole new layer to Hartman's character. Just before he was shot, Hartman smiled a wicked smile and started to say, "Private Pyle, I'm proud."
What is your major malfunction, numbnuts?
It's chilling, isn't it? That moment suggests he actually felt proud of what he'd created. Even in his final seconds, he saw Pyle's breakdown as a twisted success. He didn't see a failure, he saw a soldier shaped by his own brutal methods. Number 22. Joker's real name is never actually said out loud in the movie. But if you look closely at his uniform, it reads J.T. Davis. That's not just a random name, it's a powerful tribute. It references Specialist James T. Davis, the first American soldier killed in ground combat during the Vietnam War. Including that name was no accident. It quietly transforms Joker from just a fictional character into something much more. He becomes a kind of living memorial. Through him, the film honors real soldiers who gave their lives. It adds a deeper emotional and historical layer to the story. Suddenly, this isn't just a war movie. It's a reminder of real sacrifice. Number 23. The haunting and unforgettable score for Full Metal Jacket was actually created by Stanley Kubrick's daughter, Vivian Kubrick. She worked under the pseudonym Abigail Mead to compose the music. But her involvement didn't stop there. Vivian also made a cameo in the film and took it a step further. She shot 18 hours of behind-the-scenes footage. That's a ton of raw, unfiltered material. And believe it or not, the documentary she planned from it was never released. Just imagine what's hidden in those 18 hours. Real-life moments with Kubrick and the cast, unscripted scenes, creative tension, maybe even insights into how Kubrick worked. It's like a treasure chest of untold stories locked away in film cans. Fans have been hoping for years that one day, that footage will finally see the light of day. Number 24. Gustav Hasford, the author of The Short Timers, wasn't your average Hollywood collaborator. He and Kubrick didn't exactly see eye to eye. In fact, they only met once, and Kubrick later wrote in his diary, "I can't deal with this man." That pretty much summed up their rocky relationship. Things got even messier when it came to the screenplay. The legal battle over credit dragged on for a full year. Hasford wasn't backing down. He even threatened to go to the press if he wasn't properly credited. Eventually, Kubrick was forced to pay royalties. But the real issue wasn't money. It was about respect and recognition. In the end, Hasford won full screenwriting credit, scoring a dramatic victory that most writers in Hollywood rarely achieve. Number 25. Here's a cool little known fact about Full Metal Jacket. It was shot completely out of order. Unlike how most films are made, Kubrick flipped the script. The Vietnam scenes were actually filmed first. That means the very first scene they shot was set in Da Nang. Strangely enough, the boot camp sequences, which come first in the movie, were done last. In fact, the graduation ceremony was the final scene filmed. This meant the actors had to work backwards through their characters' arcs. It definitely wasn't easy, but it mirrors the disjointed, dehumanizing journey the film portrays. In a weird way, that filming style became a perfect metaphor for the movie itself. And honestly, it just shows how tightly Kubrick controlled every detail from start to finish. We hope these behind-the-scenes stories surprised you as much as they did us, and gave you a whole new perspective on the classic film Full Metal Jacket. There are just so many secrets and cool facts behind every great film, and we always want to discover them with you. Thanks for watching. Stay curious and keep digging into the truth behind great work so you don't miss any stories.